core of my being. This uninvited guest, the pain, surged in intensity, mercilessly stretching the limits of my endurance until consciousness capitulated. Transported back to the distant era of 2008, I found myself engulfed in the monotonous routine of everyday household chores. And then, out of nowhere bam, a seismic wave of excruciating agony slammed into my stomach, as if an otherworldly force had plunged into the very core of my being. This uninvited guest, the pain, surged in intensity, mercilessly stretching the limits of my endurance until consciousness capitulated. In what felt like a mere flicker of existence, I regained consciousness in the antiseptic confines of a hospital chamber. The bearer of news, the doctor, solemnly pronounced the verdict: acute appendicitis. The gravity of the situation began to dawn on me. An imminent voyage into the uncharted territory of surgery awaited. The appendix, a small conduit at the bowl's end, is an unsung hero. An undetected infection can grow into a tapestry of inflammatory upheaval, a symphony that resonates with life's delicate balance. The tacit edict of surgery, a standard medical procedure, is revealed. A ballet with scalpels and an appendixal departure unfold in a narrative that appears simple. This surgical proscenium hides a saga, an epic journey through the viscera's labyrinthine intrigues. Once an unassuming appendix, it now leads my corporeal saga. As the surgeon's adept blade performs its familiar dance, the appendage's chapter ends, a surgical vignette interwoven into my life's grand tapestry. During recovery, fate delivers an unexpected twist, opening a new chapter in this medical journey. My wound has infection, a disturbing discovery. Medical discourse now considers another surgery. A harmful group of stubborn staphylococcal bacteria must be eliminated from me. I listened to their whispers in the operating room during an encore performance, under anesthesia. Talking about my family, especially my 2-year-old, makes me feel like my future is uncertain. Unfortunately, the plot thickens, trapping me in a web of danger. My innermost being is infected by the infectious menace. The origins of this insidious invasion are a mystery, given the strict sterilization protocols used during the initial surgery. The intensive care unit's tubes and monitors bind me to an ethereal existence upon my awakening. My family's worried expression says it all. A constricting oxygen conduit muffles my voice, making communication impossible. Medical experts consider the risky antibiotic gamble. Without this lifeline, life will end prematurely. My family leaves me alone in the hospital due to consciousness. The obstinate tube prevents an aching throat from complaining, despite the nurse's assurance of normalcy. Finally, the climax of this terrifying journey arrives. Nurse's lapse in vigilance causes disaster. One, busy with family, the other quenching thirst, unwittingly allows chaos to strike. A sudden suffocation grips me as my lifeline is cut off. A desperate struggle like a fish without water ensues, encapsulating eternity in moments. A phalanx of white-coated saviors enters as alarms ring out. The air is filled with panic and calls for specialized help. I hear their loud debates, but breath eludes me. I lose my breath when my efforts to clear the blockage fail. The heart's rhythm stops, symbolizing the soul's release from earth. My consciousness disengages, freeing me from body. I see a ghostly scene of my supine body surrounded by medical staff. My essence is drawn to an ethereal journey by a strange force. Fear and resistance bind me to family love, but the omnipotent force wins. A surreal journey into unfathomable realms follows. A glowing arboreal entity surrounded by charming fauna stands out. tranquility and unmatched affection rule. I feel warmly welcomed by extraterrestrial oasis beings as I ascend. Children of different colors play together in harmony on the playground. Myriad souls of varying ages converse in beatific harmony as they approach a verdant expanse. A gushing fountain with blossoms brings peace. A panorama unfolds without worries about broken family ties. A tranquil river murmurs its timeless song as elderly luminaries stroll through a blooming garden. A faint glow caught my eye in an infinite expanse. This glint raised questions about whether my long journey had ended. I felt an inexplicable and all-encompassing love pull at my very being and draw me closer. The glowing light whispered that it might be my final destination. As I moved forward, this radiant entity's gentle warmth enveloped me until I became part of its serene aura. I felt a profound sense of joy and peace, as if some unseen force was guiding me along this mysterious path. A gentle touch on my brow and a voice telling me to stay calm reminded me that this wasn't my place. I reluctantly began my journey back, wondering if this return path would contrast harshly with the enchanting encounter I had just experienced. In a bizarre twist, I was suddenly confined to a hospital bed with a flurry of doctors trying to revive me. Despite my return to the physical world, the enigmatic force continued to offer love and peace beyond comprehension. Reluctant to accept my physical limitations, a resolute voice reminded me that I had unfinished tasks and a multitude counting on me. My earthly mission was incomplete. Despite my resistance, the force threw me back into my body, where I woke up in excruciating pain. Among the doctors and the burning heat in my chest, I said, "No, I do not wish to return." Unfortunately, I fell asleep and my pleas went unheard. The attending physician persisted even though my heart stopped beating for a moment. Over time, my life returned. I was confused and blamed the doctor for disrupting my otherworldly experience. After regaining consciousness, I reluctantly told the doctor about my transcendental experience. In response, he recounted near-death experiences, suggesting faith could be a powerful force in mortality. After returning home, I felt gratitude for my family and perplexity from the surreal episodes. I told my husband about my profound experience, but he dismissed it as a surgical hallucination. My experience was strange, so I understood his doubt. Poised on my bed, I contemplated the enigmatic puzzle that had unfolded before me. The voice echoed, emphasizing unfinished business and the many who depended on me. Deeper understanding of meaning and purpose brought clarity. The otherworldly encounter was real to me, despite external skepticism. It had the potential to change my life and give me a purpose.
Hey everyone, let's talk about something really important today. You see, she's got this family background, with heart attacks being a thing. Right from when she was little, she learned that having high cholesterol and blood pressure can really mess things up, like cause plaque to build up and trigger heart attacks. So her doctor sets her up for this EKG test, and it shows some mild ischemia. But they're like, hey, all good for the next 5 years. But then her sister, who's a nurse, steps in and drops some knowledge. She's like, listen, heart problems don't always show up on those fancy EKGs. You might want to consider getting a heart catheterization or some heart x-rays just to be sure. She kept pushing for 5 whole months, constantly bothering her main doctor to set up the needed x-rays. She even went as far as threatening the doctor. Finally, after all that persistence, the doctor decided to schedule a heart catheterization for her on March 1st, 2006. While doing the procedure, they found out that 3 of her arteries were really blocked, about 80%. So her heart specialist arranged for a heart stent procedure on March 16th, 2006. It was supposed to be easier than open heart surgery. But unfortunately, during the stent procedure, they accidentally poked a small hole in her heart, and she started bleeding a lot. She didn't even realize it. They took her back to the intensive care unit where things got really complicated. Luckily, her friend, who's a nurse, told her not to be alone in the hospital, and that turned out to be super important. The nurse gave her morphine, and she fell asleep, but then her friend noticed something was wrong, like her eyes getting big and her blood pressure dropping. They had to call a code blue, and they did everything they could to help her. The doctors had to take out 3 bags of blood from her chest over the next day. She said it felt like everything went dark for a moment, but she also felt really calm, like she was taking her last breath. Then she saw a bright light, like the kind you'd see when you're going from life to whatever comes next. In that weird moment, she felt like she was on a stage in the dark, with a spotlight shining on her. She was sure she had died, and it felt like she was talking to God without saying anything out loud. She prayed for forgiveness and asked for more time. When she finished, she saw a face, like an angel or maybe just a really kind nurse, with a big smile, telling her things would be okay. She couldn't tell if it was real or a dream. Then she heard a nurse saying her pulse was back, and after 4 long days in the hospital, her heart doctor let her go home. The nurse explained that the hole happened when they were putting in the stent, and it made her heart stop. She believes that prayers from her family and a minister in the waiting room helped her survive. She's so thankful for getting another chance at life, and she wants to share her story, telling everyone about the peace she felt and the love she was surrounded by. As she moved into the next part of her experience, she felt like she was with people who had already passed away. She didn't know how she got there, but she felt like someone was with her the whole time. She saw people she knew, and it made her really happy to be herself without her body holding her back. Someone told her to think about Earth, and she saw the beautiful trees in New York. Without speaking, she knew that everyone there could hear her thoughts. Then she saw herself and thought, I wasn't so bad after all, thinking about her struggles with weight. She also saw her husband and kids, feeling like she wanted to go back, but also feeling like she should stay. Eventually, she made a deal to go back if she could remember everything. They said yes, but as the pull to go back got stronger, she started to regret her choice. In a show of defiance, she agreed to come back, but insisted on taking the scenic route. As she made her journey back, she got a glimpse of events that hadn't happened yet in her life. When she neared the hospital, she floated down through the roof, watching people on different floors going about their business. Eventually, she found herself in the operating room, where she saw doctors and nurses frantically trying to save her lifeless body. Despite her reluctance, she felt a strong pull back into her body, took a deep breath, and felt the pain of life flooding back into her. When she woke up in the recovery room, tears streamed down her face, and she couldn't help but yearn for the peaceful presence of the afterlife. She tried to hold on to the memory of that serene place where love and beauty transcended words, even speaking in tongues to try and capture the essence of it. In English, she told the nurse how much she didn't want to come back. The nurse, understanding her role as a mother, gently reminded her of the baby who needed her. And with that, today's extraordinary experience comes to an end. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time,